All right. Well, hello. I'm going to be talking about the Gnosis ecosystem and, of course, our bounties. So we have three different tracks today. The first one being build on Shudder on Gnosis Chain. So there's a few different things you can do here. The main one being building a dApp that uses Shudder in some way. For example, you can use Nano Shudder that is like a local development environment so that you can very easily set everything up and use it to test, for example, commit and reveal scheme applications or anything that could use encryption and decryption in some way. But we would also very much like to have a dApp node package for the encrypting RPC, which is open source, of course, which would make it much easier to deploy. Or to integrate Shudder in a wallet, for example, using MetaMask snaps. Those would all be very great applications. Then we have build with circles on Gnosis Chain. Again, of course, you can build betting and prediction markets. You can build social or voting platforms, custom groups and mint policies. Basically, just be creative. There's a lot you can do with circles. And, well, you should experiment and do fun stuff with it. You can also build a question application with Hashi. So you can use it to push your own data, basically normal bridging, or Hashi also publishes block headers on chain, so you can use those to build proofs, for example, and question applications in general. So there are 5 different prizes, at least, for those 3 bounties. All right, so I'm just going to be talking about Gnosis Chain a bit, just to explain, because some people still don't know what it is. So basically, Gnosis Chain is quite similar to Ethereum. So we have a beacon chain and an execution layer as well. We use the same clients, mostly Nethermind and Aragon, but Guest and Wrath are also coming. On the consensus layer side, you also use Lighthouse, Teku, Lodestar, and Nimbus, so basically the same clients. We go through the same hard forks as well, and we are arguably the second most decentralized network, available, I would say, with almost 300,000 validators today. So that's, a bit less than Ethereum, but still the second most decentralized network in our opinion, at least. Of course, there's also a few differences. So historically speaking, we were a proof of authority network based on Aura. So we never were a proof of work network. We use XDAI, which is DAI basically bridged to Gnosis Chain as the native token. So the gas price doesn't really is not influenced by the price of the token as it's a stablecoin, which is quite interesting, I think. But we still use GNO, so our ERC20 token for staking. And we have 5-second block times, which is 2.4 times faster, and 16 slots per epoch, so 2 times less than Ethereum, which makes finality twice as fast. We also have blobs, so we are, I think, currently the only chain except for Ethereum that also has blobs. And we try to innovate on Gnosis Chain with a plugin architecture, for example, Shudder being one of them. We also make the deliberate choice to say a layer 1 chain at Gnosis. I'm not going to go into too many details about this today, but mostly because we feel that layer 2s are still way too centralized, in our opinion. But yeah, this is some alpha, so this was, I think, announced yesterday for the first time. So we are hosting a debate about whether Gnosis Chain should become a layer 2 at Dev Conflict. So that's an event we are organizing that Gnosis is organizing in Bangkok on November 9. I think this specific debate is with Vitalik and our co-founder, Martin, co-founder and CEO. So you should definitely join if you are in Bangkok at that time. All right, so these are some informations about Gnosis Chain. So basically RPC, chain ID, the explorers, a faucet, which you even have for mainnet. So if you want to try something out on mainnet directly, you can, free of charge. And documentation. So if you want, you can take a picture of this. But of course, all of this is also available on our documentation, so on docs.gnosischain.com. All right, moving on to the shutterized Gnosis Chain. It's not the only thing Shudder does. And as a brief description, Shudder, well, its mission is to shield protocols and their users from malicious actors. So they mostly do this in two different ways, which is one by restoring privacy to voting protocols, for example, for Snapshot. So they secure that, well, voting basically on Snapshot. And by providing an encrypted mempool, which is what they are doing with us at Gnosis Chain. So yeah, we interrogate the Shudder encryption encrypted mempool. Sorry, and the way it works basically is that normally when you post a transaction, it's visible by anyone in the mempool, meaning that people can just take the transaction and then sandwich it or front run it or do whatever they want with it in order to extract value, which is otherwise called or known as MEV. So what Shudder does is basically you can sign your transaction and then encrypt it, post it on chain. Then it goes to a sequencer contract that basically defines in which order those transactions will get executed. As soon as a Shudder-enabled validator gets to propose a block, they get decryption keys from a set of decentralized keepers. They decrypt those transactions and then they have to put them at the very beginning of the block they are building in the order defined by the sequencer contract. And they are not allowed, of course, to add any other transactions in between. So they cannot front-run you, they cannot MEV you in any way because they have to respect that order and put them at the very beginning of the block. So this effectively makes those transactions private and impossible to MEV. So how can you use this? Actually, it was deployed in June, so you can already use it. And there's three main ways to use this. So either use the encrypting RPC solver. This is suboptimal because you still reveal your clear text transactions to the RPC provider, kind of like you would for Flashbots or MEV blocker. But the difference with those services is that for Shudder, that service is actually open source. So you can run it yourself, which is very important. Well, those are the two RPCs you can use on mainnet and Shadow. You can also use a wallet that already implements Shudder natively, but none of these exists quite yet. And you can encrypt transactions locally, so for example, directly in the dApp. So you would sign a transaction and encrypt it in the browser. But sadly, it's quite difficult currently, or no wallet actually makes it possible to sign a transaction without also broadcasting it. And if you're broadcasting it, then, well, you lose all the advantage of your transaction being private. That's just Brave Wallet that allows you to do that, but that's not sufficient to have good UX. So what do you come in? Well, basically it's to solve options 1 and 2. So the encrypting RPC, we wanted, well, if you are serious about privacy, you want to deploy it yourself. One easy way to do this would be to use dAppNode. So one of the bounty, or yeah, you would potentially win a bounty by developing a dAppNode package for this encrypting RPC. The second way would be to implement well, Shudder directly in a wallet, for example, by forking a wallet or by using MetaMask snaps. Another way to come in or to use to win a Shudder bounty is to build a dApp that uses Shudder in a significant way. So, for example, you can use it to build time locks or simultaneous move games. So, for example, let's say you play rock, paper, scissors on chain, and well, if you know what the other person played, then you can just win by default because you can choose the right move. And this can be prevented by Shudder. Or you can build blind donations or auctions, negotiation tools. Basically, that's a big set of applications that you could build with Shudder. Then we have Hashi. So Hashi is a robust and innovative EVM hash oracle aggregator. So basically, it's designed to enhance security of cross-chain applications. The way it works is that it reaches consensus basically between different oracles or bridges. So imagine that you want to, well, currently, for example, on Gnosis Chain, we have one bridge between Ethereum and Gnosis Chain that has many validators, but still there could be an issue in there somewhere. So what we want to do is actually have this set of validators like our custom bridge, but then also use a few different bridges and then make sure that they all reach the same conclusion. So for example, you could use 4 bridges, and if 3 of them agree, then you consider the bridge successful. So you no longer rely on a single point of failure. So basically, it's additive security. You run the same thing with multiple different clients or bridges or oracles or whatever, and you make sure that in the end, they mostly agree. So why should you use Hashi? Well, basically, it's a flexible framework to build secure cross-chain applications that supports many chains, many oracles, and arbitrary message passing. So you can just publish any message and find it or get it bridged to any of the other supported chains. And it also provides an abstraction layer for oracles. So basically, you can implement any oracle and just use the same interface for all of them, so you don't have to write something specific for every different bridge or oracle. And if the one you want to use is not supported yet, well, you can just write an adapter yourself, deploy it, and then just use that as if you would use any of the other ones. This also makes it possible, for example, to swap out oracles or bridges in case one gets compromised or one is too expensive or you prefer a new one for whatever reason. You can just write a generic application and then at some point swap out the bridge you're using without anything, like without changing your code, basically. Hashi also does block header relaying. Basically what that means, it publishes the headers on chain, and then you can use that to verify state, basically. So to build proofs of any kind. That would then verify the entire chain of state of the blockchain instead of just passing messages around. All right, the next topic is circles, and I'm going to let Lucas present this to you.
Hi. So I will take a few minutes more to talk about Circles. Circles, it's a project developed by Gnosis Chain that represents social money for everyone. Circles, it's a DeFi protocol that let users mint their own tokens and exchange it with people that they trust. This project exists since already a few years ago, but it was relaunched at 15 October, so last week it was relaunched within the Gnosis Chain. We rework the smart contracts, and we also give addition with the SDK to help developers building application with the Circles protocol. So how does it works? First, you need to have a Circles avatar in order to be able to interact with Circles protocol. You need to get invited for this. So if you need an invitation, you can ask in the Telegram or in the Discord channel, or you can come to our booths to ask directly to us in person. And when you have the invitation, you will be able to create your personal avatar. When your personal avatar is set up, you will mint 24 Circles token per hour, per day, so 1 token per hours, and you need to trust someone in order to be able to exchange this token with him. So everyone has the option and is encouraged to trust others, because we encourage you to trust as many people as you can, because it's like this, you can benefit the protocol and exchange token with as many users as you can. So when you trust someone, it will be able to receive your personal token, and if he trusts you, you will be able to receive their personal token. All of this trust relation create a social graph that includes direct trust. So for example, me trusting you, but also indirect trust, me trusting you and you trusting someone else. So I will be able to send token to this person because we have a trust pass between me and him. We also encourage genuine connection between each other. That's why we say that the protocol is Sybil resistant, because if there is fake avatar or someone that try to farm the Circles token by duplicating his personal account, if no one trusts him, he will not able to spend this token with someone else, so he will not be able to interact with the protocol. So for Circles avatar that I'm talking since the beginning, there is, with the new launch of Circles, there is 3 kind of avatar. There is a human avatar, so it's a person like you and me. We also have group. Group, it's a group of human avatar, and group have their own Circles group tokens. And then we have organization. It's like the one step further in the protocol hierarchy. What I wanted to talk about today is the Circles SDK. So this is the SDK that is related with our bounties. If you want to apply for our bounties, you need to build something with this. It's a node package that you can install directly with npm install Circles SDK, and you can use it to build application on the Circles protocol. So with the SDK, you can create the 3 type of avatar: human, groups, and organization. For human, like I say, you need to get invited. So there is a function in the SDK that lets you invite an address, a wallet address, to the Circles network. And then when it's done, he can register and start to minting his own tokens as a rate of 1 token per hours. There is also a function to wrap every Circles token. It's ERC 1155 token, and with the SDK, there is a function to wrap this token as a ERC 20 if you need to use it with other DeFi protocol like Uniswap or others. And there is also a function to create a group. So create a group, you don't need invitation. You can do it by yourself with the register group function, and you can make your own implementation using the SDK, or you can also use our application to create and manage group. So basically, a group will have a name, a description, a symbol, and then you can add and remove people from this group. Every people from this group that trust the group will be able to get token, this group token, and interact with it. And then you can also register for an organization, but we don't have much feature implemented yet with the SDK for organization, so we'll not continue with this. So the Circles SDK was designed to help developers to create communities and facilitate their economic growth. You can build any application in the Circles protocol. So there is an example in here, but we also create one for the hackathon. We create a group, ETHGlobal 2024, and if you want, you can join the group. If you come at the booth, you can join the group, and we have a leaderboard to get the swag. So you need to trust as many people as you can and to be on the leaderboard and get the swag. There is more information about the SDK at docs.aboutcircles.com. The key features of the Circles SDK is setting up an avatar, the 3 type of avatar, so personal with invitation, or group or organization. You can trust and untrust people. You can send the CRC token. So under the hoods, the SDK will see if there is a trust pass between you and the address that you want to send the token. And if it finds a trust pass, it will let the token send to this address. There is also a function to wrap and unwrap the Circles token. You can subscribe to the events from the smart contracts. There is also the possibility to build with the Gnosis Safe SDK. So if you want to build a safe application. And then we also have a migration function. If there is user from the old smart contracts, so the Circles V1, there is a function to migrate them to the V2. We have an application named Secret Garden. It's like a demo application to test all of these functions from the SDK. You can find it at app.aboutcircles.com. And if you want to get invited, like I said earlier, you can join the Telegram group or the Discord group for asking, or you can come directly at the booths. Thank you.